I'd like to introduce Carrie Weckman, who's an Army veteran. Carrie, can you tell me how old you are?
I'm 24, or 23.
Okay. You're just a youngster.
Yeah.
I know. Everybody says that. When did you get out of the service?
I got out of the service last year. I was in active Army until 2010, and then National Guard till 2012.
Did you do a tour over in Iraq?
Yes, I did.
Okay, one?
Yes, just one.
Okay, very good. So now you get out of the service and then life happens.
Pretty much.
Okay, tell me what happened to you.
I get out of the service. I try to coordinate ahead of time, get a job lined up, put a down payment on an apartment, and I get out and job fell through, lost the apartment. I went to school, kind of for the wrong reason. I kind of just went to, get a paycheck, to be honest, and didn't last long. I made it to about 9 months and had to drop out. Then I lived with my uncle for about a year. Couldn't find work still for that time. National Guard, I wasn't making really enough to even cover rent, so he eventually gave me an ultimatum to move out or pay up, so I had to move out.
So you were really having a hard time transitioning from the military to the civilian world, weren't you?
Yeah.
You didn't really quite, it's easy when you're in the military, you have everybody telling you what to do, where to go, what to say, who to see, whatever.
Yeah.
But one thing when you get out. So when you left your uncle's house, what happened?
One of my other veteran buddies, he was homeless for a while, and he went to U.S. VETS. Not this site, but a different site. So he told me about it, kind of helped him out, so I went for this. Because in between school and my uncle's house, I was homeless on the street for about a month. So I didn't want to go back into that. So I came here and, got everything taken care of.
So when did you come here?
I came here late August of 2012.
So you really haven't been here that long.
No.
So tell me how they've helped you.
Within 2 weeks, I got a job as a security guard. And that was really my biggest thing, is just getting a job. Because I was really starting to get down on myself and depressed. And as soon as I got the job, I felt, so much better just to be able to get it.
Because now you're self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And you earn your own money and you're not getting a handout. You did it yourself.
It kind of gave me a purpose.
Yes.
Like, instead of just sitting around and not doing anything, and, it gave me something to do and something to strive for.
Here's the question I asked every single veteran that sat in that chair. What is the best advice that you could give to one of your peers, homeless veterans, out in the street who may be watching this program? How would you persuade them that this is the place for them to come and get the help they need?
Honestly, anything is better than the street. I've only did it for a month, and that was the worst experience I've ever had to deal with. And, just sleeping next to a dumpster behind a Stater Brothers, I was like that up in Riverside for about a month, and I would never do that again. And when my uncle gave me the chance to, get back on my own, and, I ended up having to go back to that or come here. And I did not want to do that again. So I'd say, if anything, it's better than the street, and they can get you, they got me a job within 2 weeks, and I really, I worked my butt off for it, and, so they give you the tools, and, they give you the help and all that stuff, and, why not?
And it's your choice as a veteran to get the help,
yes,
to take advantage of what's being offered to you, because, it's not just transitioning into a homeless shelter. Is much more than that. This is the whole person concept. So whatever the issues are, they have staff here, or they have visiting experts that come here, and they will offer you that assistance. But as a homeless veteran out on the street, I know a lot of them feel there is no hope, or they don't want to deal with the bureaucracy, or they don't like, rules.
Yeah.
But, rules are there for a reason. So it's not, so you got a job, you got a second chance here. So what are your plans for the future?
For the future, I plan to go back to school. Now I want to go in as an EMT. I was a first responder all during high school, so I kind of have a little bit of background in it and want to kind of pursue it a little bit more.
And the EMTs, that's one of the fastest growing occupations in the state of California. And I don't know if you know this, but the California Army National Guard just signed a contract with a major university to provide training to all National Guards for first responders. They want everyone trained because what they plan on doing in future in times of disaster is they're going to send out the Army National Guard and the reserve units to take care of that. So they want everyone in those services trained. So that's pretty awesome. And you will get that. I have no doubt you will get that goal.
Oh, I know.
Okay, very good. So any closing comments you'd like to make?
Nothing I can think of. I mean, pretty much covered everything.
Okay, Corey, thank you
All right,
so much.
thank you.
And good luck with your
Thank you.
future. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Rob Kasheta, who is an Air Force veteran.
Yes.
And Rob, what happened to you?
Well, I would say it was from personal problems, relationships, and dealing with trying to, be in a relationship that just didn't work out for me. And after that, I kind of spiraled downhill.
Let's talk a little bit. Let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about. I know that when you were in the Air Force, you worked as a nuclear
Specialist. Yeah,
so
yeah.
not a whole lot of call for that in the civilian world, is there?
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm assuming that when you got out of the service and transition into the civilian world, you had some adjustment problems.
Yeah, really hard. It was really hard. I was lucky that I worked at Lockheed for a little bit, and I was lucky to find that job. It was an electrical installer job, and that was, really, I had a little bit of skill in that area, but I was really lucky to get that job, and that really helped me.
So after you left Lockheed,
After I left Lockheed, I was correctional officer for a little bit up in Atascadero, in California Men's Colony, and that was the job. I really just didn't like the job. There are many jobs that I joined that I didn't like, but I really didn't like the job, and that's where I met a woman, and I had a personal relationship, and the relationship didn't work out. That's where my life just kind of spiraled down.
and because the relationship didn't work out the way you had hoped,
Right.
you turned to alcohol?
Well, it wasn't alcohol so much, it was more like, little drugs, speed and things like that. But I never had the drugs in the position of that was dominating. It was more the relationship and more the dealing with the relationship and just going out, just forget about the world, forget about everybody else, and I'm just going to drop out of the world and just do my own thing out there.
So you actually became self-isolated.
Yes, exactly.
Too difficult for you to deal with that loss of that relationship.
Yes, I would think so. That would be pretty much.
Okay, so once you saw yourself kind of spiraling downward, what compels you? What made you realize that you needed help and that you needed a place like U.S. Vets?
Well, the funny thing about U.S. Vets, like you said, you start thinking about yourself, and you really start thinking about the way other people perceive you. And, when you're in that position, people kind of avoid you. They see you coming down the street and things like that. And you try to go to public places, and, they just kind of avoid you. And it kind of makes you look at yourself like, what's wrong, what I need. And U.S. Vets, I didn't even know about this place. And I used to be right around the corner going to this park, JFK Park, right around the corner. I used to go there, and I used to sit there. And one day I was just walking down the street, and I had my bicycle and my bags full of clothes, got everything I owned in it, And Richard Burley, he's the outreach coordinator, homeless director here, and he's just driving down the street, and he just beeps his horn, and he says, "Hey, I can help you if you want some help," And he just drives a little bit further, and he spins around, comes back around, gets out of his truck, and starts talking to me. And I told him I was a veteran, and he told me there's a place right around the corner, but you gotta wanna come, because I'm not going to force you, I'm not going to beg you. You gotta wanna come. And he left me. He said, "Be there tomorrow at 1 o'clock if you want to come." And the next day I was there at 1 o'clock and started talking to him about it, and he let me in the next day. He told me I had to stay out on the street another day. But
Where would your life be had he not been driving down the road that day?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. This place, the people who did want to help you, they appreciated that you were here and you were trying to help yourself. So without U.S. Vets, I don't know. I don't want to say something bad would happen to me, but I don't think it wouldn't have got better. It's something, you can't live on the street. I've had things happen to me on the street, and I've had things it's kind of dangerous out there.
It's very dangerous out
Yes,
there.
yes.
And the whole idea of U.S. veterans for this program, U.S. Vets Initiative nationwide, is how do we get the veterans off the street?
Yeah.
How do we get them away from that stereotype of homeless veterans when there's really no need for veterans to be homeless with a program like this?
Yes.
So, the best testimony is someone that has lived that life.
Yeah.
And so if you were to reach out to another veteran that you saw walking by
Right.
on their bicycle with all the belongings they had in the world on that bicycle, would you stop and talk to that veteran? And
Yeah,
if you did,
yeah.
what would you say to them?
Well, that's just funny you should say that, because I just met a guy the other day, and he was in the Army, and he was talking to another guy. He was doing a religious study with another guy, and he mentioned that he was in Fort Leavenworth, and of course I know that's military. And I just talked to that guy, and he had like a hard attitude about it, because sometimes in the military you get the idea, once you get that training, you get the idea that nobody should help you because you got to stand your own. You got to be a strong soldier. You got to stand on your own. And I just talked to that guy, and he told me, he said, if you see me again, talk to me again, and he said, I'll be at the library, so then I go by the library and I talk to him. Feel like a kindred to people who are in this position, because you don't want anybody to be in this position. I don't care if people tell you that, oh, I'm okay, but it's not okay. And you don't want anybody to be in this position. It's not good out there being homeless, not at all. Whenever I see somebody, I try to talk to them, try to help them. And I can remember myself, like I said, I spent over 5 years. And the first couple of years, there were times where people would come and talk to me. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. I don't need any help. I'll be okay. But it's not the truth. When you get in that situation, it's just not good. And when it's time, you want somebody to be talking to you at that time. Like Burley, he was perfect timing for me.
Perfect time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I think so.
So the fact that, but it takes courage also to admit that you have a problem and to rise above it, and that's what you've done.
Yeah.
So what's your situation now?
Well, right now I'm working at Fresh and Easy.
Oh yeah, that's a great place.
Yeah, I've been working there since August now. And I really like my boss. I really like what I'm doing. And I really appreciate having a job too. I mean, it's kind of, when you haven't had a job for a long time and you're working every day and you're doing your 40 hours, you kind of really appreciate it when you know what you didn't have and you lost it, and then you get it back. It's like, well, I don't want to lose this. It's really nice.
There it is. I don't want to lose this.
Yeah.
I want to live a better life.
Right.
And really the choice is up to you, to veteran.
Yeah.
Make the same choice you made.
Yeah.
Rise above it. Get the help you need.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Real pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, I'd like to introduce Aurelio Sanchez, who's a 26-year Navy career veteran, and he has a great story. And I recently met him, about a month ago when I came over here. And can you tell me what you do here, Aurelio?
Sure, I'm a career counselor. I started last year, January. I had retired, as you said, as you mentioned, I had retired in 2008.
What'd you do in the Navy?
Flew the hovercrafts out of Camp Pendleton. And then the last 5 years, I was actually an instructor. I was teaching people how to fly them. So I definitely loved it. Loved it. Just a wonderful way to end a career, flying those hovercraft. But yeah, I enjoyed it thoroughly. After I retired, I was a teacher, a high school teacher up north, waiting for the application process for law enforcement down at the border. So I started teaching January of 2009. And then February, the following month, Customs and Border Protection called me. And they asked me if I still wanted the job. Of course, in California, the teachers, they were looking at layoffs, and I was like, oof. So, of course, I jumped at the chance. So I went down in March of 2009. I went to Federal Law Enforcement Academy in Georgia, became a law enforcement officer. I did that for 2.5 years. Finally got everything paid off, and the house paid off, had money in the bank, and decided I was going to retire. So I retired. I resigned from the law enforcement, and the retirement lasted about 6 months.
Got bored, did you?
Bored to tears. Bored to tears. So I went out to EDD in Temecula. I was just looking to find something to do. And so they suggested I come here to U.S. VETS.
So now, had you even heard of the program before?
No.
Okay, so when you came out here,
I came willing to cut the grass. Didn't matter. If you want.
You just
paint,
wanted to be
just
busy.
Right, that's right. So I got here, and lo and behold, the site director, I looked at him, he looked at me, it's like, I know you. Where do you? Well, it turns out he was stationed on one of the ships during the war. When I deployed, I flew one of my hovercrafts into his ship, and we had met there. So yeah, I told him, Keith, I'm here to volunteer, whatever you need. I can change light bulbs, I can do light fixtures, I can paint, I can cut the grass, or whatever you want me. If you have admin work, Well, it just so happened that they were the following month they were getting an audit from Department of Labor. Ronnie, the workforce manager, she was working alone, and so she needed a lot of help. So I said sure. So I went there, and he introduced me to Ronnie, and I said, Ronnie, I'll work whatever 3 days a week, 4 days, whatever you need. So I started on that Monday, and I quickly realized 3 days a week was not going to make So I volunteered Monday through Friday. Started volunteering here last February 2011. And so the Department of Labor audit came. We passed with flying colors, and they offered me a job as a career counselor. They didn't have a career counselor, and I was like, sure.
Now talk about being in the right place at the right time.
That's right.
Your willingness to volunteer says volumes about you, because there aren't enough people who are willing to volunteer for whatever that cause is. And for veterans, it's really important to learn that helping other veterans helps you.
That's right. This is what I want to do. I want to work with veterans, and it felt good. Once I started working here, I was helping them with their resumes and helping them with their job searching and the whole interview skills, and that working directly with the veterans is definitely something I want to do. So I changed my major to I called VA, and I said, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing, volunteering here. I see myself working for the VA in the future. What kind of masters should I be getting to be able to get a job? And they said they need people with masters in psychology. So that's what I did. I changed my major. I'm now working on my master's in psychology. I'll graduate in September and working here with the veterans.
What would you say to veterans out there who are kind of thinking about maybe I should go over, or maybe another time? What would you say to persuade them that now's the time?
Now is definitely the time, because we have the staff, we have the specialties, we have the desire to help those people. And of course we're helping homeless veterans. So if someone is on the verge of being homeless, I would urge them not to wait. They can come and see. Obviously, being prepared is always the best approach. So definitely don't wait till you're in a situation where you're in panic mode. And so definitely now is the time.
Now's the time.
Yes, ma'am.
Because there are people and agencies that want to help you.
That's right.
Any closing comments?
I'm here. If you're out there and you need some help, please give me a call, or come to the site and visit. If you want to volunteer, we can always use the help.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, really. Pleasure seeing you again. I'd like to introduce Paula Corvalan, who's case manager here, who's one of, how many case managers are here?
2.
Okay. So you have a very interesting job, Paula. What does a case manager do?
What I do here for US VETS is when a veteran comes in that he wants to be here and stay here, we do the assessment. I do the assessment, have him know the rules and regulations, have them do consent forms, and then I assist them in developing their IAP, which is their individual action plan. And then after that, once the assessments are completed and they have completed certain classes that we have here, then I direct them to our workforce coordinator to assess them to see if they're ready for the workforce.
What are some of the classes that you provide here? I'm assuming they're like life skills.
Yes.
Like?
We have a class that is called Stages of Change, to have them go through that change. They come here homeless, and a lot of them, it's very hard to say, okay, now I'm here. What do I do with my life? How did I get here? How do I get out of here? Do I really want to follow the rules? Do I really want to do roll calls and have to see my caseworker once a week? So it's hard for them.
I'm sure in the 3 years that you've been here, almost 3 years, that you've seen some dramatic changes in people.
Yes, I have.
Tell me some of your success stories.
I've had veterans that came in off the street. I have one in particular who was living out on the street for 6 years. He came in, he thought he couldn't get a job. We helped him get an ID, social security card, DD-214, and now he's working full-time in a warehouse, and he's very happy. Some of my other veterans, they were on parole or probation, and they had never completed it, and now they have, and they're going to school or they're working, and they're doing great.
What would you say to a homeless veteran that might be looking at this program, how would you persuade them that this really is a great choice for them to make to come here?
I would say to them, if you're ready, we're here for you. Come back home.
Come back home.
Come back home.
Welcome home.
Welcome home, exactly.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to introduce Donald Forden, who is a retired Army Colonel Chaplain.
Right.
So I understand that you volunteer here.
I do.
What got you over here?
Well, I knew a man who was a veteran, and he attended my church that I attend, and he told me about the place. And so I came over and I talked to the director, and told me what they were doing, and I'm very interested in helping people, particularly vets.
And of course, you have a very unique background.
I do.
Can you tell us what that is?
Okay, I retired from the Army. I was in from 1968 to 2004. That's about 36 years. And I also have a California marriage family therapist license. I also have a school psychologist license. I also have a school counseling license. And so putting that all together, I have a clinical background. So that is the impetus then for helping these veterans, because these veterans have some emotional problems, and the clinical aspect of this program is very important because it helps them solve some of their own emotional problems, and those are some of the problems that have put them into this setting in life where they have had problems relating to people, problems relating to supervisors, and these emotional problems, they need to get on the other side and handle them. So I can provide that piece, and I provide the supervision of the interns. We have interns here getting their therapist license. They need hours, and I can provide the hours of supervision.
And which schools are the interns from? USC?
They're from USC. They're from National. There was Cal Baptist, and so they're from these different schools in this area. So that is my reason for being here, is to supervise them, and we call this a multiplier, a force multiplier. That's an Army term, and means that when you put activity in, you get multiple activities out. So I supervise, and then they can go out and produce a lot of hours of counseling.
Very good. So what is it that you get out of this?
My whole purpose is I want to help people, and I want to particularly help vets. And that's a lot of self-satisfaction that what I'm doing helps people. And that's what I get out of it.
Sir, if you were talking to a homeless veteran right now, what would you say to them to persuade them to come here?
Well, I would basically, and I have done this, I would say, do you want to keep on your life the way it is? You've made some bad choices. It's time to make some good choices. And some good choices are something to do for yourself that gets you in another direction. Because continuing on the way you're continuing on, hoping to get some other end by just continuing on is crazy. Let's change. Let's do something different. Let's change the input, and you may get a different output.
And that really is you're changing. Sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees, and really sometimes people need to just take a step back and really absorb what you're saying, because everything in life we do comes down to personal choice.
Personal choices.
And so
That's right.
You choose to be in the situation that you're in, but you have a group like US Vets who says, we understand where
That's
you're
right.
at. We want to help you, but we can't help you unless you're willing to make that choice.
That's exactly right. And when people continue to make bad choices, hoping to get some good things out of it, just doesn't happen that way. Life is a choice, and we got to make good choices.
And so we're veterans helping veterans, and we want veterans to come in here and get
Absolutely.
the help that they need.
Absolutely. That's exactly the purpose of the program, and that's what we offer veterans, is a chance to change, and this chance to do something different, a chance to build a new life by doing something more positive. And they have a lot of supervision here, a lot of counsel here, a lot of direction here that they don't have by themselves. And some of these guys just flounder and flounder and flounder. They've been floundering all their lives, but here there's some structure. And one of the things I find is that sometimes people don't like structure, but structure is your success story. Is when we structure our lives to an end, to a good end, then we're going to go somewhere.
Well, I know a big problem facing this youngest generation of veterans is they're having a hard time transitioning from the military to the civilian world because, you know, in the military you always have somebody telling you what
That's
to do,
right.
where to go, what to say, what to, you know, they're always telling you what to do. So when you come out of that kind of environment and you don't have anybody telling you what to do and you're left to your own devices, sometimes you don't make the best choices. Let's just
Exactly
put
right.
it that way.
We don't make the best choices. So here you've got some guidance.
Here you have some guidance.
Yeah,
So-
that's an Army term,
That's it.
guidance. And that's what we have. So this is a great opportunity and a great program.
Great. Thank you so much,
Yes.
sir. Pleasure to meet you.
Yes.